You're. There's a bit of the sound check, you dig? I'm just checking the sound. How am I sounding? I'm just checking the sound. How am I sounding? Alright, I'm sounding pretty copacetic here, boys. We are going to take a little romp through the wonderful world of Stephen A. Smith. We're going to keep just the audio, take a listen to it while we play a little video juegos. We got a little 6'5" middle linebacker ready to goddamn rule the world, you know. So we're going to do that. Just see what this old head beef's about, man. Check it out.
There's a few things going on in the world of sports that need to be addressed, but on this particular day, they don't take precedent.
Okay.
Instead, one would be Aaron Rodgers and his situation with the Pat McAfee show. That's necessary to address because, after all, I'm an employee for ESPN. The other would be a fat bastard that has gotten away for far too long talking his bullshit. You wanted some? Fine.
Whoa.
Piece of shit.
Whoa. Stephen A. Smithsonian coming in hotter than a damn potato here. We're about to get into some real deal content. I apologize. Let's do it.
The Stephen A. Smith show up next, right now.
Oh, sorry, that's probably a copyrighted song. All right,
And that is the name of Jason Whitlock. He is a guy that has a show on Blaze TV.
What is Blaze TV?
He is the person that I directly allude to as that fat bastard. He's a no good individual. Probably the worst individual I've ever had the displeasure of ever being associated with in any capacity, and I will address him in just a few minutes. All I will say is that the things that I'm going to say, please don't hold anybody responsible for it other than me. Nobody. I even took the liberty of calling my pastor to apologize in advance for what I'm going to say about that no good bastard.
Oh, Lord.
So I will address that in just a few minutes. And I'm not engaging in hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating. The pastor's name is Pastor A.R. Bernard at Christian Cultural Center. You don't believe me?
I'm playing games. You said.
I don't lie like some other people I know do.
Oof.
But again, I'll
Look.
get into that.
We're getting a little hot, boys. We're getting a little spicy here. And I'm loving every dang second of it. Stephen A. Smith came not to play. That's what I'll say. He's coming to take some heads, take some domes, and it's getting real. I don't want to say lethargic. It's getting real. It's getting real nitty and gritty. It's getting pretty nasty. And then I don't know. This is phenomenal. I love me some old head beef.
A little bit later on in the show. Before I do that, it's necessary for me because I'm the face of ESPN, and obviously there's a lot of things that went on this week in regards to Pat McAfee and some of the news that he made with his show. And obviously Aaron Rodgers was one of those things. The other stuff that involved Pat McAfee and him calling out an executive and all of that other stuff, all I'm going to tell y'all is this. You don't have to mind your damn business, but I will mind mine.
Hey, man. Look, you say what you want about Mr. Stephen A. Smith, but he's got a lot of power in those worlds of ESPN. You know, whatever agendas and wokeness that you think is happening over there, the fact that he's letting Pat McAfee rock and he's not saying any words. He's not politicking against them. I mean, we got to give him his credit, man. We got to give Stephen A. Smith his credit for letting Pat McAfee do what he does as he does it. But we're about to get into another layer here.
I'm an employee of ESPN for my day job. I don't discuss internal matters. That is none of my business. That is above my pay grade. Pat McAfee has his show. He's responsible for everything that goes on with his show. The executives that we answer to at ESPN, and I'm not going to be stupid enough, irresponsible enough, immature enough to think about that I can talk about family business. I don't do that. That's not going to happen. So don't expect me to speak on that ever. That's not how I roll.
Oh, well, let me take that back because
that Aaron Rodgers would not be on the Pat McAfee show anymore during this football season, whether that's a permanent decision or whatever.
I need to, and it's so, and I guess this is like the true reality of media, and it's the true reality that a lot of people are just now watching the Pat McAfee show because of Aaron Rodgers and because of the whole conspiracy, and I guess they don't think it's a sports show, but yes, it's a sports show. It's not one of these ESPN shows that you're used to where there's just what's it called, politics baked right into it. That's just not what it is. They make silly jokes, but it's never been that. So when we get to the point in particulation of the Aaron Rodgers thing, it's like if you've been watching the show for the last 3 years, you would know that Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays usually end when his season ends, and sometimes he might stay a little longer. Not sure if you guys know, again, because y'all don't watch sports, y'all just are here for Twitter comments. Some of you guys, the season ended last week. Was the last week, this Monday was the last week of the regular season. We're heading into wild card weekend. I think Green Bay is in there, but technically, I can't. That's so crazy. Green Bay. I was like, I guess technically Green Bay is in the playoffs. So why isn't he? I guess he would be on there, but he's I'm talking about the Jets. I'm stupid. But regardless, God, I can't believe I was like, oh my God. Well, usually he does stay in the playoffs, so that's kind of odd. But he's the Jets. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart. But yeah. So that even makes it So it's perfect. Whenever his season ends, he stops being a weekly guest. In the double part of that, if I could get it out eventually, is that again his season ended 8 snaps into the regular season, and he still came on. So I don't understand why people are trying to make it this thing again, because they don't watch the show. They've never watched the show. This is their first time watching the show. But they've had all these big opinions about it, and Pat McAfee's a sellout and this and that. Look, I might have some criticism for how Pat McAfee moves, but we're not gonna sit here and try to act like he's anything that he hasn't. He really has not changed. He's always let Aaron Rodgers do his thing. It's just that Aaron Rodgers is doing extra things that I don't think anybody was prepared for. To be honest with you, he hasn't gone that crazy. He usually just talks about like Bigfoot and aliens and shit. And slight jabs, but again, people don't watch the show. They're new to it. I hope you find it. I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, this is a sports stoogery show. This is not a show where people need to be held responsible for their political takes. But yeah, but the main point, stop going on Twitter and when you read these crazy engagement bait thing saying, oh, Pat McAfee canceled Aaron Rodgers because ESPN higher ups caught. No, bro. If ESPN would have called, they would have called fucking not last year. They would have called halfway in the season. He was already saying crazy shit that you wouldn't agree with ESPN, but you weren't watching because it wasn't big enough. You didn't care about it. So let's not be stupid here. Y'all are new to it. Y'all just started watching it. Y'all are having a phenomenal time. I hope you're enjoying it, man. But yeah, don't freak out about it. This is a normal occurrence. It's just crazy optics, though.
I don't know. Don't care. I support Pat McAfee from the standpoint that I like the guy personally.
Hey, look, I don't want to get this lost. People get this lost sometimes with the Stephen A. concepts, with the Pat McAfee concepts. I don't know about Stephen A. Stephen A. says some fucked up shit. Pat McAfee is a very positive person. He's had his weird outbursts and his petty moments. Very positive guy. No one's ever said, except for people who don't watch the Pat McAfee show and don't encounter him, not a lot of negative things to say about him. So I don't want that to get lost in this whole snafu too. I'm not coming down on Pat McAfee. I don't think anybody should.
Straight up, he lets you know where he stands. He's unapologetic about it. He don't give a damn who you are, black, white, male, female. He don't give a damn. He's gonna let you know where he stands, and I respect that. As it pertains to specificity of everything that's transpired, that's a different subject for another day. But when Rodgers on Tuesday had shot back at Jimmy Kimmel for making fun of him all of those months, in Rodgers' opinion, he said, I think it's impressive that a man who went to Arizona State and has 10 joke writers can read off a prompter. My education in JUCO and at JUCO and my 3 semesters at...
Oh, yes. This is funny. Stephen A. Smith did not want to talk about this shit. The intern put this shit on the docket. They said, hey, Hey, the hot thing on the internet right now is Pat McAfee. I'm gonna get at y'all today. So I think y'all get the point. I just wanted to see what his thoughts were. I'm gonna continue watching this on stream, but please be blessed. Get me the comments down below. This boy does not want to do this. This is great. Love me some Stephen A.
That Cal, which
Let
I'm
him
very
finish
proud
this
of,
off
has worked out for
because
me.
he just.
It's worked out for him. He said, but I wish
You know, he just reading on the prompter. Well, you know what we here for, man. You know what we here for.
And I'm not accusing him of being on the list. That was Aaron Rodgers' retort to what Jimmy Kimmel had really lost it over. And what Jimmy Kimmel had really lost it over was Aaron Rodgers just saying that, you know, folks are not looking forward to that list coming out, and one of those people is Jimmy Kimmel. Epstein, I'm sorry. I got my producers here with me.
Yeah,
Jeffrey Epstein, being on the Jeffrey Epstein list.
Okay.
So
that's you don't really even know who Epstein is.
If you want to hear what Jimmy Kimmel has to say, just as a reminder,
Aaron
Rodgers
God.
has an opinion of himself. He genuinely thinks that because God gave him the ability to throw a football, he's smarter than everybody else. We learned during COVID somehow he knows more about science than scientists. A guy who went to community college, then got into Cal on a football scholarship and didn't graduate. Someone who never spent a minute studying the human body is an expert in the field of immunology. Aaron got 2 A's on his report card, and they were both in the word Aaron. That part was funny. I have to admit that. All I want to say is this.
He's such an old head. Oh, I love you.
Take Aaron Rodgers at his word. I thought that he was very, despite long, lengthy ramblings on the Pat McAfee show on Tuesday, I did believe and I did appreciate the fact that he came out and said, look, and I'm not calling him a pedophile. I'm not alluding to it. I was just taking a shot at a guy that's taking a shot at me. And anybody that would want to sit up there and label him such a derogatory, or had such a derogatory label towards him, just don't do it in my name. That's nonsense. I don't want any part of that. So I do appreciate him saying that. But here's the reality of the situation. When Aaron Rodgers said what he said, it did allude to it. There's no escaping that.
Yeah.
When he said what he said, it did allude to that.
Yeah.
And you do have some wackos out there that would automatically assume that Jimmy Kimmel was going to be on the list. So because of that negative attention,
not only
from
that,
the Epstein list,
yo, and I know I'm not recording right now, bro. Everybody's saying he's on the list. I'm not even gonna get into it.
Jimmy Kimmel, the least you could do.
The list Stephen A. Smith talking
I'm
stuff.
sorry about that. That's not what I intended to do. I was wrong for doing that. You could have said it like this. I don't like him. I don't like him a little bit. And I don't give a shit what he has to say about me ever. But I went a bit too far with it. And I was wrong. And left it at that. That's not what Aaron Rodgers elected to do. And as a result of it, it is what it is. He's no longer going to be on the Pat McAfee show for the remainder of the football season.
He said it is
who
what
knows
it
whether
is.
or not he'll never be back. And as a result, we go from there. As far as it pertains to people looking to give a shot to Pat McAfee, listen, Pat McAfee is his own man.
Yes, sir.
Just like an
Talk
abundance
that
of people
talk.
are their own man or their own woman working at ESPN. If I disagree with something you've done, so what? That doesn't mean I don't support you. And I got to tell you this, and I'm going to say it to everybody one last time so everybody understands this. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm very happy to have Pat McAfee at ESPN. Pat McAfee established himself with his own YouTube channel. He bet on himself years ago. He built a following amassing in excess of 2 million followers on YouTube.
Man, I just want to say, man, shout out to Stephen A. Smith, man. Really, y'all gonna talk about wokeness. Y'all gonna talk about X, Y, Z, elemental P agendas. When y'all talk about ESPN and Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith, man, Stephen A. Smith is sticking up and sticking by Pat McAfee in a time where probably the ESPN officials probably don't like him very much. And the probably the only person with more power than Pat McAfee at ESPN from a creator standpoint is Stephen A. Smith. And I gotta be honest with you, he's really, yeah, man, yeah. That makes me feel nice, man. That makes me feel good, man. That's great, man. Oh, I gotta continue to, keep doing your thing, Stephen.
Okay, give the brother credit where credit is due. And there are people that don't want him to succeed. But there's a lot of people who do. And my only words to Pat McAfee is that as long as his show is on ESPN, anytime he wants me to come on, I'm happy to come on. He's been great to me.
Yes, sir.
And I think he's going to succeed. And the one thing that I do feel compelled to address is these headlines about how his numbers and his ratings don't necessarily measure up to that of First Take. Well, no one has in the morning.
Oh,
He's been
shit.
number one for 12 years.
Oh, shit. Stephen A. Smith just put his balls on the... Hey, that boy. I don't know what they get. Hey. Shannon must have gave him a shot at a Henny. That boy acting stupid right now. Do it, man. That boy acting crazy.
But I guarantee you that Pat McAfee show is doing better than the Sports Center show. He succeeded. I guarantee you that Pat McAfee's numbers are climbing. I guarantee you that Pat McAfee's show will continue to get better and better. It's just that I intend for First Take to get better and better as well. He's not in the same time slot as me. I'm not competing with him. I want Pat McAfee to be successful. And guess what? The more successful he is, the better it is for somebody like me. Along with a plethora of other peoples. Because when the model is the model, when you give this, when you don't purchase the talent, you don't employ the talent, you purchase the show. That's a business model. So for people to root against that makes no sense to me. If Pat McAfee succeeds, you have any idea how many floodgates will be opened for other opportunities for other folks if Pat McAfee succeeds? What the hell are you rooting against him for? What are you rooting against him for?
Real.
Now, is he in a quiet taste? Sure. Does he do things that most of us wouldn't do? Sure.
Wow, he's really going to bat for Pat McAfee right now. That's crazy.
But in the end, whether I agree or disagree with anything and how I feel is none of y'all damn business because that's an in-house matter, he's got my support.
Yes, sir.
He's got my support from the standpoint I want his show to succeed on ESPN. It makes all of us better. And if you understand anything about business, the abundance of layoffs that took place before his arrival, those were employees or independent contractors. If you're losing money and you're trying to offset losses, you let folks go, you write it off, and you move on to a different era. And when the person that you bring in succeeds the old, and it's their business as opposed to them as an employee, then the overhead and everything that comes with it is your responsibility, not the company's, which means their liabilities are limited. That's why they made the deal they made.
Yes, sir.
Whether it works out for ESPN or not remains to be seen. But make no mistake about it, Pat McAfee's my teammate at ESPN. Just like Shannon Sharp and Club Shay Shay.
Yes, sir.
Just like Ryan Clark and the Pivot, my teammate. I'm rooting for everybody. You're a teammate of mine, I want you to win. I want you to win. I'm sorry things didn't work out with Aaron Rodgers, or at least that appears to be the case. I'm a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers. I don't agree with what he alluded to, whether intentional or unintentional. Aaron Rodgers alluded to Jimmy Kimmel being on the Epstein list. Period. I'm not saying it was intentional. I'm not saying it was vicious. I'm not labeling it or judging it accordingly. I'm saying what impact it had. Because of the impact, you apologize. And I personally think he apologized. Doesn't stop me from loving Aaron Rodgers. He's a bad man.
He's a bad
Got mad love.
man.
Wish I could watch him on the air talking about sports. Not rambling about COVID and immunization and vaccines and all of that stuff.
Please.
Even though some points he was making, I heard him loud and clear. There's a lot of people that believe, just like he believes, that our government spent a lot of time lying to us, but that's a different subject for another day.
We're not going there.
He's an all-world quarterback, a future Hall of Famer, and when he wants to talk football, don't tell me.
I've said this on multiple recorded videos. I just want to get this out because I don't know. There's a weird problem with the whole recording on YouTube. But look, man, I don't want you to think like I'm some dude who doesn't think that there's some fishy stuff going on because I make fun of Aaron Rodgers. I just want to talk about football, bro. I'm not saying you're not wrong. I'm just saying I would love to hear you talk about your conspiracy theories like, on Twitter or something, bro. Like Antonio Brown just be doing shit on Twitter. I don't even know what he be talking about. Awesome. It's great because it's on Twitter. It's not on the sports show network or whatever. I don't know. It's just, it's a phenomenal time. All right, but resume, old heads.
We won't want to hear what he has to say. Still got love for him. Just wish he had apologized. That's all I have to say about that subject. 'Cause I got it. Jason Whitlock.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen clips, I've seen snippets, but we're really about to get into the nitty and also the gritty of this whole Stephen A. Smith versus Jason Whitlock situationship here. Not that it's a huge situation, but more so the fact that Stephen A. Smith is one of the most hilarious people with the greatest hairline combination of all time. And the way that he is going to go about doing the things that he does to Jason Whitlock pause, I think is going to be a cause for great entertainment. So we've got to see what type of amazingness and what kind of bag chasing is going to happen here. So let's take a nice little step in here.
I said that name.
He said the name?
It's not a name I've uttered.
Utter?
I normally don't do that. But it's necessary to do now.
This is a nasty guy.
I've had enough of that fat bastard.
Jesus.
Piece of shit.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Look, this is an old head talking right now, man. This is like earth shattering for this 75-year-old man.
Make sure that before I go to break, I want anyone out there who watches me, anyone out there who knows me, anyone out there, no matter what you think of me, I want you to remember, I never talk about him. I never talk about my colleagues. I don't do that. This is a first. But it's necessary. And when I say don't talk about him, I don't mean don't talk about him literally. I don't get in on him.
Get in
like
on
I'm
him.
about to do now.
Oh, jeez.
I literally
like
call
I'm about to do now.
my pastor.
I literally called my
Ask for his
best.
forgiveness and understanding in advance, because he's not going to recognize the person he's about to hear.
Before anyone gets offended, I am not in any way, shape, form, or fashion disrespecting religion. I just think it is the most old head, theatrical thing to get on your podcast and tell people that you asked your pastor to eviscerate an Uncle Ruckus in the flesh. But yeah, I'm gonna let him talk his talk.
I did the same when I emailed the bosses at ESPN. This is my podcast. I own and operate this. I do what I want on this podcast. But it doesn't mean that I still don't harbor a responsibility to at least give my daytime employers a heads up as to what I'm about to do.
That boy warned the
My
bosses.
sisters, my nieces and nephews, my boys in the industry,
You feel me?
everybody that I could reach out to in time has been warned.
It's been warned.
It's time for me to dress. I'm only
Marketing is what you mean.
because this bastard is worth less than a damn cockroach.
Wowza.
He wanted my attention.
Okay.
He's got it.
He's got it.
The Stephen A. Smith Show. Up next. Don't touch that dial. We'll get rid. We'll deal with the fat bastard himself. Right?
God, we gotta get better. Come on, we gotta. Hey. We need to be better with our outros there, our intros there. I think he's gonna pay some bills. Yeah, he's gonna pay some bills here. Let's get back into it.
Come out. That's what he had said.
Let's get back into it.
For some reason, I apologize. Let me get back.
Oh.
I'll hold on to this.
This is absolutely
Hope
phenomenal.
you go out and get it.
This is.
Thank y'all so much for the love and support. Wouldn't be here without you.
This is Stephen A. Smith is awesome. He's a national treasure. I swear to God, bro. I swear to everything that I love. All right, let's get back to the Whitlock evisceration.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show, right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube. By the way, that quote from Aaron Rodgers, from Aaron Rodgers about Jimmy Kimmel, which initially sparked this whole brouhaha, was quote. There's a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, that are really hoping that.
Oh, we're still talking about. Okay.
That's what he had said.
All right, we don't care. We don't care. We do not care.
To the subject at hand.
Yep. Big wit.
Ladies and gentlemen, As a black man
Oh, here we go.
sitting in this seat,
Here we go.
the level of vitriol that I have to absorb is something that I understand 99.99% of the time. You're a former player and you want to crucify me, that's fine. You're somebody that was involved in some kind of public incident that I had to speak on, whether you're the wife or ex-girlfriend or some of a former player, whatever, I get it. You're a present-day athlete and you don't like my evaluation of what has transpired before our very eyes and what I'm witnessing, that's cool. But I swear to you, on everything that I love, it's not personal. I'm a sports reporter and sports commentator. That is what I have been throughout my career. It is my responsibility to tell you what I see through my lens, how I feel about it, what my perspective is, etc. It's not like I'm sitting at home with absolutely nothing to do and no obligation to touch on anything, but I feel the need to invoke and ingratiate my thoughts, opinions, etc., upon the world. I actually get paid to do this. And because of that, sometimes my opinions, my thoughts, my feelings, etc., are things that you would not like. But I have never lied to you. Ever. If I wrote a story or I wrote an article, it's based on the things that I've been told, what I've seen, and what I feel. It is rare that I talk about myself on a personal level because my personal life is not anybody's business and I don't get into other people's personal life. It's not something that I do. Many figures in the world of sports find themselves in personal situations, not lawlessness, not unlawful things or anything like that, but there's plenty of situations, Michael, Sherry, Juvie, where I've seen certain things and I turned a blind eye and a deaf ear to it because it's none of my business. And I leave it alone. And one of the other things that I never do, I never attack my colleagues.
Is that boy
I might
name
disagree
dropping
with
people?
something somebody says or does, and I might have an obligation to speak on it because it's in the news or whatever, but I don't speak against my colleagues. Once humanity comes into play, that's a given. Here's the other. That's not real work. Think about this for a second. I'm supposed to be covering sports, but I make a career out of talking about my colleagues. That ain't work. That's you finding some slick way to get a check because you can't get a job.
Oof.
That's Jason Whitlock.
Oof.
That's who the hell he is. Now, I have sat back for years, at least 9 to 10 years, saying absolutely nothing about this man. I never uttered the words fat bastard out of my mouth until a few months ago. So that means that the previous 9 years, you never heard me speak on him at all. But now it's necessary. Excuse me.
Talk that
Because you
talk,
see,
Stephen A.
if you listen to the fat bastard, I didn't play high school ball, even though my coach's name was Harvey Stoller. It was Thomas A. Edison Vocational and Technical High School. I played there my senior year. I was in a basketball tournament at Fashion Institute of Technology where I dropped 27 points and got a scholarship because the coach came calling me after that and what have you. If you listen to him, I never had a scholarship to Winston-Salem State, even though it's on the books. Just call.
Okay, the funniest thing about this is beef over over high school and college basketball stats. This is awesome.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm an honorary doctorate. I have an honorary doctorate from Winston-Salem State University because of my contributions to Winston-Salem State. I'm called Dr. Smith. has something to also do with the contributions that I make because I believe about uplifting. I'm an ambassador for HBCU Week, and I've partnered with Ashley Christopher and Mir Persicki in Delaware and others to generate
he's just flexing now.
over 10,000 scholarships in excess of over $65 million in scholarships for African Americans.
Yes, sir.
But this man will tell you I'm lying. He even went so far as to say my autobiography, where I talk about my mother, my father, my sisters, the business, my hiring and firing and rehiring at ESPN. I didn't write it. I didn't write my own memoir, which, by the way, is a New York Times bestseller, something he wouldn't know anything about.
Damn.
Did you know that it's now on paperback?
Damn.
It just came out yesterday on paperback. Do you know that you could go to Amazon.com,
all right,
StraightShooterBook.com,
all right,
or bookstore nearest you to get my book in paperback? Do you know
we get
that
it.
when people are normally selling 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 copies, I've sold over 400,000? Did you know, did you know, did you know? But he will tell you, I didn't write it. He's seen my writing. Really? This article.
What the fuck is that? Nigga, is that the hamburger?
On Deadspin.com. The title: How Jason Whitlock is poisoning ESPN's Black Grant Land. Because remember, Bill Simmons, who's now at Spotify doing a great job, obviously had Grant Land at ESPN.
Yo,
On his departure, Jason Whitlock was supposed to take up the mantle and create a black website for folks. This article was written by a Greg Howard, published on April 27th, 2015. The same Jason Whitlock that said he's seen my writing, the same Jason Whitlock that implied that I couldn't write, the same Jason Whitlock that said that I'm lying. That I'm lying. What does this man do? Why would I call up this article? There's a plethora of reasons why I would do so, ladies and gentlemen. One of the reasons would be because it is
broke.
About how scurrilous, how trifling, how despicable this man is. But there's also another reason that I'd pick up this article. Let me read the graph to you that it says. Keep in mind, Stephen A. can't write. This staff, the one Whitlock was praising by way of warnings that if the writers and editors wouldn't align with his vision, he would get rid of them, was not the one Whitlock wanted. The Undefeated, because that was the name of the title before it ultimately became And Scape. The Undefeated was originally meant to attract the best and brightest young black talent in the country, with Whitlock's aim set so high that he at one point seriously tried to recruit the Atlantic's Ta-Nehisi Coates, the sharpest cultural commentator in the business today. As things worked out, though, those young writers comprehensively refused to work with him. So did big-name ESPNers like Howard Bryant, Jamel Hill, and Stephen A. Smith. Couldn't write, huh? While you were on Blaze TV, spewing that bullshit to people. Did you tell them that?
Did you tell him that?
Did you tell them how you stood outside First Take begging me to talk to them?
Damn.
Did you tell them that once this same article in Deadspin came out, weeks later you wrote a lengthy apology to me in an email, begging me to forgive you, pointing out how you were betrayed by this particular writer, so you know how I must feel that you betrayed me? Did you tell the folks that? You bitch.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Did you tell them? fat piece of shit.
Jesus.
Tell him that. Got the names.
Lord have
We got
mercy.
Mel Hill. We got Howard Bryant.
I don't think the pastor's gonna like any of that.
The other writers that wouldn't work for you. Why it took you nearly 2 years to get an article out?
Jesus.
Because you ran that shit so bad you were running it into the ground. What a disgrace you were to John Skipper, the former boss of ESPN, or the host of others. You want me to talk about that?
Please don't.
Because I got receipts.
Please do.
I got the email.
Please show us.
Want me to talk about that?
Oh yeah.
Now, just for everybody that wants to understand, how could this possibly be? Because once upon a time, I actually tried to speak up for this damn cretin.
This credent. This is some
I
real
knew
old
he was
head
a piece
shit
of
right
shit.
here.
But I said, look, maybe he's misunderstood. Why would I do that, ladies and gentlemen? Because sometimes as black folks,
Here we
get our
go.
own way. We think that all of us must be of one monolithic thinking, that we need to be completely and totally aligned. And any deviation from that brings into question our quote-unquote blackness. Martin Luther King was a man of peace. Malcolm X was by any means necessary. They can't possibly be on the same page. Even though their agendas was for the upliftment and the preservation of our race of people. So I understand when we talk about stuff like this, how people can sit up there and say, how did it get to this? How did it get to this? Remember when I got suspended years ago?
Uh-oh.
You know, was out there writing stuff, smiling in my face 1 minute, talking smack about me behind my back, and then ultimately writing it, it was him. Remember when I supposedly used the people were speculating that he used the N-word on the air and all of this other stuff? He was the first one out there trying to say that I did it. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't do it on the air, in my humble opinion. I'm telling you that. However, it's not like I didn't use the N-word when I was off the air, when I was talking to my fellows.
I'm not confused.
Other folks.
He's copping please now.
I'm not a proponent of using that word often, nor am I advocating that that word be used now. I'm just acknowledging the guilt that comes associated with it in terms of when I was younger.
Please, man. He's copping please.
But I was always saying we as black people communicate how we want to communicate with each other. I love John Wooten, who's been associated with the Fritz Alliance, the Fritz Alliance, Fritz Pollard Alliance. Love that man. Love his contributions to the NFL, but when we would get into it in the past on rare occasions, it wasn't that he wanted the eradication of the N-word, because I support that. My issue with him was, hey, you shouldn't be encouraging the NFL to fine us and penalize us for using it amongst ourselves. How can a race of people who actually made the word iniquitous be in a position to punish us for using the word with one another? I had a problem with that. And I stand by that, but I digress.
Yeah, we're getting off.
My point is, in bringing up all of that, Jason Whitlock pounced on me. Because that's what he does. You see, what he does is, he's the one that puts himself in front of white folks.
Uh-oh.
The white folks. Not all white folks, not most white folks, but the white folks that dare we say they have a problem with black folks. He says, I'm your man. That's what he does. You think I'm lying? Ask ESPN. Ask Fox. Ask the Kansas City Star. Ask them all.
You know it's crazy when Fox won't take you.
Jamel Hill, Rob Parker, Chris Broussard, Skip Bayless, yours truly, along with a host of black folks all over this country. Every single one of them will confirm what the hell I'm saying about this piece of garbage.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith kind of went nutty. Nutsville, Tennessee. I'm happy that he got it out. I'm happy that he talked to his pastor about it. These old heads only get off these cussing escapades like once every 3 full moons. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy he got that off. That was phenomenal. And just know that Jason Whitlock will be responding about 1,000 other times. So just be strapped in, boys. Just be strapped in. Yeah. All right, continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a black man, I often told y'all, I cannot imagine, as a black man, knowing our history, anything worse than a white supremacist. That is until Jason Whitlock came along.
Wowza. Shout out to Kanye West.
He is the worst, most despicable, lying, no good, fat ass human being I've ever
Jeez.
known
Not fat
in
shaming.
my life.
Stephen A. Smith is a fat shamer?
And I'm gonna take a break because I got more
He just got
in a
more.
minute. Thank you. And if you remember, when the Undefeated first came into existence, it was labeled the premier platform for intelligent analysis and celebration of black culture and the African American struggle for equality. That's what it was labeled as. Now that I read you that quote, let me give you a quote that this guy, Greg Howard, has a recording of Jason Whitlock saying to his staff at that time.
Uh-oh.
If you're more comfortable working for white people rather than working for me, and that sounds humorous, but it's the truth, fine. This is according to audio obtained by Deadspin back in 2015. Some black people are far more comfortable answering to a white person than a black person, no matter how black they like to pass themselves off to be. Far more comfortable because they know a white person is going to overlook their shortcomings. It's good for a Negro. I'm not about that. But if you're more comfortable working for a white person, I will find a white person for you to work for. We have a higher standard here. Everybody has to get on board with that, or I'm going to find a way to move them someplace else. That was Jason Whitlock. And then he went out and hired senior writer and editor Mike Wise, who's white.
On their
This
own.
is the man that's in charge of black culture.
Shout out to ESPN,
Why
man.
can
Shout
I
out to
say that?
ESPN.
And by the way, I'm not casting any aspersions against Mike Weiss. I'm cool with him. I've always been cool with him. He used to work for the New York Times, used to cover the Knicks long before he moved on to the Washington Post. He's a credible journalist. I have nothing negative to say about him. I'm just saying, black website, but you bring in your white friend.
Interesting.
In part because black folks didn't want to work for you. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, how serious I am? Am I? I have a contract that I negotiated with ESPN and I signed in 2015. I don't know of anyone who has this in their contracts. I had it in my contract, and I have a copy of it, where it specifically stipulates that I never work with Jason Whitlock.
Okay. All right. I had to. He's just copy. You're a copier, Stephen A. Stephen A. is just copy. He's just copying everything that Cat Williams did. Oh, well, I had something in my contract that said I'm not gonna work with Ricky Smiley. I don't know who else had that in Hollywood. Man, you're a poser, Stephen A. But I like it. Get to the bag.
It's in writing.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
You didn't see him on Undisputed with Skip Bayless either. Skip Bayless wouldn't allow him on there. You didn't see him on Numbers Never Lie either. Jamel Hill and Michael Smith wouldn't allow him on there. Christopher Broussard for Fox Sports and Fox Sports Radio. Let me take a moment to tell you about Chris Broussard. If Chris Broussard were not in this industry, do you know where he'd probably be? Probably, because I don't know for sure, but probably be, y'all, in a monastery. He's one of the most religious, God-fearing, decent human beings you will ever encounter. It doesn't get any better than Christopher Broussard. He can't stand Jason Whitlock. Look around. Don't y'all notice why black people scurry away whenever this roach of an individual is around named Whitlock? Because we know what he is. We know what he is. Blaze TV. You may not know. Glenn Beck, Dave Rubin, the great one himself, Mark Finn. I bring up Blaze TV, which is where Whitlock works, because I want Blaze TV to understand I'm not talking about you. I know you're conservative, I get all of that. I'm not judging accordingly. I know Mark Levin well. We have one another on speed dial. We talk all the time. The same applies to Sean Hannity, the Andrew Wilkows of the world. Okay? I talk to these folks. I'm not one of those people that's married to one side or the other. And decent people are everywhere. Be careful that you don't get yourself stained and stenched by Whitlock. He can do that to me. He is the worst. He's not ethical. He's not moral. Clearly, based over what I told you about me, he's also not factual most of the time. He will lie. He will denigrate.
I gotta be honest with you. You talking to white people. White people don't care about that shit. They don't care about that. They're gonna keep employing the black people that fucks over the black people as long as it brings white people more money.
The real reason he's there is because he can't get a job anywhere else. He hasn't burnt bridges. He's napalm. Call Eric Shanks and Charlie Dixon at Fox. Call Jimmy Pitaro, Burke Magnus, Dave Roberts, Norby Williamson at ESPN. Call him. Call him. Call John Skipper and Meadowlark Media. I'm giving you names.
Oh, jeez. Golly. All right.
I'm giving you names. That's different. I already gave you on-air talent names. I gave you reporters and on-air talent. Ladies and gentlemen, this same Jason Whitlock that wants to talk smack about me
Smack.
is the same Jason Whitlock that wanted to hire me. It's the same Jason Whitlock that stood outside doors trying to get me and coax me into even having a conversation with them because they knew I was so disgusted with him, presumably after he hit a strip club. But we all know ain't nobody trying to go out with him. Okay? The same Jason Whitlock, that guy, is the same guy that sent both Dan Lebertard and Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, two-time champion, a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest point guards in NBA history, now working on NBA TV. That guy, that same Jason Whitlock, sent those folks to talk to me. Please, is there something that can be worked out? Can you forgive him? Can you talk to him? My words and my promise to them was that I want nothing to do with him. I will never hurt him from getting opportunities, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna help him by being associated with him in any way. Do you know why I said that, ladies and gentlemen? As black people. And I guess I was wrong. I should say at this particular moment in time, I was wrong to call him a fat bastard or a roach or all of this other stuff. Because that's not my name for him.
Okay.
My name for Jason Whitlock is religiously Cain. CAIN. You see, a lot of black folks, we talk about how we're the original man on the face of this earth. Well, that means Cain was the original murderer, because he's the one, according to the Bible, who killed Abel.
We're getting deep into some old head weeds here, boy.
There is nothing good about him. Absolutely nothing. And I challenge anybody.
Again, religion's not for old heads, but the way they quoting it is definitely for old heads.
What I'm saying.
Oh, I love it.
I have the facts. You're all here. I know what he's done. The biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes, that John Skipper could have ever made as the former boss of ESPN was hiring that man. Everyone knows it. That's why he attacks ESPN. That's why he attacks colleagues and contemporaries in the industry. It's not just because he thinks he's smarter. It's not just because he's fearful of anybody smarter than him in the same room. It's not just because of those reasons. It's because he truly despises us all.
Truly despises.
It's who he is. And the funny part about it is, when he sits up there and he says, you know, I can't do this or I can't do that. Look, I'm 56 years old. If y'all think I gotta, now that I'm successful in this business, that I gotta sit here and lie about me playing basketball in high school to write in my own damn memoir, at this point in time in my life, I can't help y'all. I'm not gonna waste my time with this. What I would say to you, however, is this. I have a bestseller. Where's his?
God, he's really just fucking going band for band with this nigga.
I got let go by ESPN and they brought me back.
This is
They won't let him within city limits. I'm telling you what I know.
This is awesome.
How the
this
Fox
is some
thing work?
petty shit, boy.
When he was on the air arguing with Christopher Broussard or arguing with Marcellus Wiley. What happened to him? He wants to talk about me, that's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, he'd give anything to have my job. He'd give anything to have my resume. He ain't on ESPN. I got the #1 show. Where his show do? How his show do? You ever see?
Oh gosh.
This despicable dude on television?
This despicable death.
I'm not even getting into how difficult he is to look at. I'm saying,
All right, Stephen A.
Who wants him? I don't speak like this, ladies and gentlemen, but what else? What other explanation is there other than his evil, vile tendencies than you want to be me? You wish you were in this position, didn't you? Don't you? You wish you had the #1 show for 20 minutes, don't you?
Stephen A. Smith is talking grimy.
You wish you could do that,
bruh.
but you wish you could be on national television every day, don't you? It ain't bragging. I work for it. Everybody else works for it. The only people out here trying to hurt people is you. You have literally made a career off talking about people in the industry who do what you do. In other words, you don't want to do it better. Then why don't you have a job outside of Blaze TV? Why are you at Blaze TV? Not to knock Blaze TV, but we know that's not where you want it to be. You want to be at ESPN. You want to be running the black website. You want to go to Fox. You want to be on television. You want to do all of these things. Jason Whitlock, what's up?
What's up?
Are you watching the show?
This is a nasty guy.
Shay where you break the internet with the Cat Williams interview, but I do pick up at least 1,500 subscribers per day. I am at over 460,000. I just started 9 months ago.
You feel me?
With my team. You've been at it, whether it's May of 2021 or July of 2021. You've been at it since then. I've already surpassed you.
Oh, wow.
Sound familiar? Because it's what I've been doing to you your entire career.
Damn.
You are a great writer. Your mistake was you started talking.
Oh
I
shit.
was wanting to be seen while you were talking.
Oh
Why
shit.
your quality and your value plummeted.
Damn.
Because when we see you and we listen to you, we know how worthless you are. This is a dude that, according to reports, literally tried to put a tape recorder under a hotel door to spy on what Allen Iverson was having to say.
What the fuck is going on?
According to this article in Deadspin,
Fuck, we
he
talking about
plagiarized one of his own editors. Somebody with these credentials, with this history of iniquities, with this disgusting reputation, y'all want to listen to him talk about me, fine, but let me leave you with this before I get on out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know why he's talking about me?
Why is doing it?
Because I get him clicks.
That's real.
Been reduced to. See, this is passion and a hobby for me. I have a day job that's paying me quite well. I own and operated this. This cost me money because I invested my own money with my new studio, with my staff, and with everything that I've done to do this. He's leaning on Blaze for a check because he can't find one anywhere else. I ask any of you connected to this industry from this point forward, because I know my colleagues, they don't want to touch this subject because he's a bully, and they don't want to deal with the fallout of him constantly coming at them. I don't give a shit. He came to the one. I know what he is. I have the emails. I have the articles. I have everything. I once tried to befriend this dude. I don't talk to him because he betrayed me. As he has others. He's turned his back on Dan Le Batard. He's turned his back on all of those other colleagues that I mentioned. Ask Jamel Hill about him. Ask Dan Le Batard.
Don't ask Jamel Hill
Ask
shit. Don't ask her shit. Please, Lord have
Let me
mercy.
stop naming names. Ask anybody in the industry. I can give you the names of the executives.
Ask Jamel Hill shit, boy. She'll be upset.
At Fox, the executives,
Oh my God.
upon telling
In my face.
their subordinates that they were bringing Jason Whitlock on board, said, quote, "We'll all band together and stand on the tracks in front of a train to stop it
God damn.
if that would prevent you from hiring him here."
Damn.
He is despised. He doesn't report anymore, y'all. All he does
Just report anymore, yo.
is make noise by coming after
Come.
the very people who did and still does what he once did, what he aspires to do, but no
That's a
longer
nasty
has the
couple.
outlet to do because he is considered a vile, despicable human being that no one wants anything to deal with. Nothing. That's who he is. I will not be speaking on him anymore. He's a liar. He's a piece of shit. My apologies to ESPN. My apologies to my family, my friends, my staff, my employees. My apologies to Fox for staining their name by even mentioning the fact that he was once there. My apologies to John Skipper. My apologies to Dan Le Batard and Stu Gotts and their show. My apologies to Jamel Hill. I didn't even mention Kerry Champion. He was insulted to her, along with others. Whether it's Amina Kimes, whether it's a Monica McNutt, it's Kimberly. He got something to say about everybody. Molly Kiram, my matriarch.
Oh,
First pick.
Oh God.
My apologies to everybody.
Jesus.
That you had to see me
Loves talking about Molly, boy.
to address this dude. But I asked for everybody indulgence for one show and one show only. And please do not allow this to be a reflection on my character, because this is not how I act every day. But I mean it from my soul when I say this is the worst human being I've ever known. I don't know of another human being worse than Jason Whitlock. He is a piece of shit. He's the dude that's gonna have a funeral and ain't gonna be no pallbearers.
Damn.
Might be 2 people to show up. He's that dude. He is the absolute worst. And he lies. And he incriminates. And he tries to set people up to fail, to big up himself, because he can't do it on his own. He had a television show. He failed. He's had opportunities one time after another. He doesn't measure up. And now he's coming at the big dog. And let me tell you something right now.
The big dog.
I ain't the only one.
I had the big dog.
I ain't the only one. There's plenty. Skip Bayless, apologies to him too for bringing up Jason Whitlock's name in the same sentence as him. But we all know what time it is. Everyone knows. All the executives at all the networks, they know what a piece of shit he is. And they begged me not to do this. But even my pastor, A.R. Bernard, said, I'm not happy about it. But every now and then we gotta do what we gotta do. I promise you, and last to my sister Carmen, I won't do this again. I promise you. I know you cringing, you didn't want me to do this. I'm sorry, sis. It was necessary.
It was necessary.
He's a sorry, fat piece of shit.
Jesus.
A no of the worst order. That's who he is. And I want to make sure everybody knows that. And I said to Isaiah Thomas, and I said to Dan Lebertard, if you care anything about our friendship, don't ever call me about him again. I'm a very forgiving person. Not with him. I don't care what beef I had. I don't care how many of you out there that hate me, whatever former athletes, all this stuff. Man, please, I'm sorry. Because I certainly don't hate y'all. We might have our differences from time to time, but ain't never that. This is the exception. I hate this bastard.
Oh, God.
Not even. Far more than a little bit. He is the worst human being any of you will ever meet. You get within a mile of his presence. Wrap your arms around yourself to protect your soul.
To protect your soul?
He is Cain. He is a devil. The worst. That's all I have to say. Y'all have a nice day. I'm gonna go about my business.
Wow. Well, Stephen A. Smith in the old head way, in an old head world. It's just an old head thing. That was too much for me to take in, man. Gotta be honest with you.